We're about news, commentary, conversations, truth, liberty, and God. We stand for American values and our flag. We believe that the Constitution is a document that fortifies rights already given to us by our Creator. We will not apologize for our love of God and country, ever. We are Right America Media.
It's the Elsa Kurt Show with Clay Novak. Serving up trending news and conservative views. Brought to you by the Elsa Kurt Collection. And Refuge Medical. And now, it's time for the show.
Well, folks, as you can see, Clay Novak is no longer my co-host. There's this other guy here that, what's your name, sir?
It's been, yes, folks, I shaved. For those gentlemen who've ever grown a beard, you know that occasionally you just got to shave it off. It's just got to come off. And so the last time I didn't have a beard was a year before we were even on this show.
Wow.
So it's been 3 years since I've been clean shaven, and I am already growing it back. So.
Oh my goodness. I love it. I think it looks great. I'm a beard girl. I love the beards, but the clean shaven looks great too. You look like a little boy.
Let's not go that far. Younger, maybe, but let's not.
All right, fair enough. There's some silver there hanging out on the sides, right underneath that cap.
Yeah. So in the beard, all the gray that was in the beard that used to be red. I come from at least a partially Irish background, and so that was all red in the beard, and that was the first thing to turn gray. So,
wow. Yeah, nothing like giving you away, right?
Right.
That's funny. Yeah, we've got a lot of topics. I'm looking right now. Yeah, we've got quite a few. We've been doing that lately, huh? We've, with of course an exception here and there for big stuff, but all great stuff, all things that we can recap for you guys in case you missed it or just expand on it a little more. But yeah, so let's jump right into it.
Today we're talking Charlie Kirk's massive memorial, Jimmy Kimmel's shaky comeback, the White House stirring autism controversy, whether America should walk away from the UN, Kamala's blame-shifting book, Jussie Smollett's bizarre TV redemption arc, Trump officially labeling Antifa a terrorist group. Let's get into it.
We've got, starting right off, so we got to start off a little, ooh, it's like heavy and it's also incredibly uplifting. It's both. It was literally both. I don't know how many.
Did you watch the whole thing?
I did not watch the entire thing. I caught a lot of bits of it. I to be honest, Clay, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, I just needed breaks. I just needed breaks here and there from it because it's so emotional. And again, there's of course the tremendous sorrow of it, but there's also, it's almost even an overload of good emotion too, because as we've been talking about, not just you and I, but all across media platforms, this will be was the largest witnessing of the gospel being preached, being spoken in, I don't know, maybe not in the history of everything, but pretty gosh darn close to it. I mean, I think it was like 3 million was probably like the starting number, and I'm sure it went up from there as far as how many people worldwide saw that. I'm sure it went up quite a bit from that. Just absolutely incredible. 70,000 plus packed State Farm Stadium in Glendale to honor Charlie Kirk. The tone was worship, witness, and resolve. Erica Kirk's, Kurt, did you hear that? Forgiveness of her husband's killer was the moment that just absolutely took the breath out of the room. And we do have it. And again, if you guys are just so emotionally wrought out, I'm sorry for showing it to you again, but it is probably one of the most powerful things I think I've ever seen. Here it is.
And to save young men, just like the one who took his life. I forgive him.
Well, that gets me started up right all over again. A lot of moments like that from her. There's there were just so many powerful moments. Hers being the most of all, I think, in my mind. There was a ton of outstanding speeches made, declarations made. What did you think of President Trump's talk? I know there's a lot of mixed feelings on that.
Yeah. So I am one. I've been to too many memorial services over the years in bad places in the middle of the night and all that kind of stuff. And so I didn't really want to watch this, but I had an angel on my shoulder telling me it was the thing to do. So reluctantly, I watched it. I'm glad I did. And it was the best advice I've gotten in a while. And so I watched the whole thing. Her time at the podium was exceptional. It proves a lot of things about Erica, that, her background, her education, her composure, her intellect, but her faith obviously came to the forefront. Resolve. She clearly is a very, very strong woman. And the fact that she even declared in public during that she is the new CEO of Turning Point tells you how important that organization is to her and was to Charlie. So that I thought was exceptional and truthfully the peak of the day. Of everyone that spoke, that was a master class, truthfully. It was exceptional. I wished, that the politics were, not part of the day by anyone, not just President Trump. I thought Vice President Vance did a better job than President Trump. But that's not, an uncommon occurrence. Vice President Vance is an exceptional speaker. I thought that his messaging was really good. You could tell very, very clearly when President Trump was using the teleprompter and when he wasn't.
Sure.
When he was on script and when he was off script. And when he is off script, that's when things get out of hand. They get, off the rails. Right. And it was very clear. You could see he start, because there's two, right? So you could tell he started and he was over here and he was on script, and then he was over here and he was on script. And then when he would turn and go center and face the audience, you knew he was off book. So, and that's where he kind of lost some of it. The deputy White House chief of staff, was very powerful in what he was saying and talking about, one political party versus the other. I just think that should have been left out of the day completely. I think overall it was a great tribute to Charlie Kirk. I think it was, befitting. It was befitting of him the whole day. And if you watch the numbers, like I watch it on Fox, I don't even know if anybody else was streaming it. Like, I don't know if the other networks covered it or carried it. But I know I was watching the numbers. They had the live viewership on Fox in the lower left corner, and it crested in the mid 600,000 at one point. May have been higher. I might have missed it, but that was the highest number I saw. And I think that was when President Trump was speaking. I think the only thing, though, that really bothered me, and I get the protocols of it, I think she should have been last. I really do. And I know that President Trump brought her back out. But I think that, it's his widow, for crying out loud. And if it is truly a memorial service, protocol of the president, I hate to say it goes out the window. Protocol of anybody, goes out the window. I think she should have been last, but that's just me. I would be very interested. So, just like every time there's a State of the Union or anything else, I want to know who the designated survivor was, because he was there, the vice president was there, Speaker of the House was there. Like, that was Secret Service must have been melting. Like, that was a security friggin' nightmare. Traveling, getting them all there, getting them all to one place. It's not DC, it's not the Capitol building. Like, that was, I can't even imagine the security and logistics that went into that. Kudos to the Secret Service for pulling that one off.
Absolutely. Because, they had some credible threats beforehand outside of the stadium. And then there's, then you have all of these unknowns, particularly, obviously unknowns to us, of things that are probably, or were probably going on in the background, and things that they were addressing or preemptively. I can't even imagine. And it was nerve wracking to kind of witness that. Like, on one hand, it's so powerful and amazing to see all, the most powerful people in the country gathered together in honor of this man who was not he was not one of them, and he was just this incredible 31-year-old man who was, just speaking truth across the nation. Of course, so much more than that in the realm of politics. Obviously he was hugely instrumental in getting President Trump and JD Vance the young vote, the college age voters, and so he was so instrumental. And it was, like you said, it was just amazing to see such a fitting tribute being paid to him. And I agree with you, Clay. There was some moments that I caught that were kind of like kind of not the time and place. I'd kind of prefer had you not went there. It's tough. I mean, Erica Kirk sets the bar, sets the standard so high. It is so high. Like, I of course we all watched her, and we've watched her throughout this as she's so, had to publicly navigate this grief and everything that comes with it. And, she has been nothing but composure and grace and class and dignity and all of these things. And then you add forgiveness to it. And it's like, I listen, in my wildest dreams, I would be half of the person that she is. And I'm just awed and speechless. And it's definitely something, I consider worth role modeling after, and like keeping in mind as my, I'm still, and so many of us are, I'm still angry, I'm still mad. And I honestly have, so much comfort and peace, which I hope we all do, with what happens now, in the fact that because of this, so many more people are being brought to know Jesus, to at least explore what that would mean to them. And, so as his promise, he will bring good from bad, he will bring the good out of it. So it's not all for naught. And so to see that in action, to see that happen, to see the growth of Turning Point, see all of these things, that's tremendous joy and peace out of the sadness and grief. But at the same time, you still have these people that are mocking, laughing, ridiculing, being absolute. I get them in the comments all the time. I actually had a lovely time. I spent like an hour. Actually, that's probably exaggerating. I spent a little time the other day just going down the comments and just going block, ban, block, ban, block, ban. Just gone. I don't care. Don't care.
So
other
than RFK's wife, who,
mm-hmm.
And he was a Democrat up until not that long ago. Did you see? I did not. And maybe somebody, if you did see it, please put it in the comments. I did not see a single Democrat politician or leader of any kind anywhere in the audience of that ceremony. Not one.
I did not either. And so if you guys in the comments section there, if you did see it, please let us know who, because I didn't see it either, Clay, and I wasn't necessarily looking for it either. So maybe, that's part of the reason why I didn't see it. But, you think they would, the camera would pan. The camera would pan. Right.
I thought, like I said, I was trying to figure out who the designated survivor was. And every time they would look into the cabinet, I thought for a long time I didn't see Kristi Noem, and then all of a sudden there she was. So I'm not saying that I saw everybody or
sure.
whatever, but I can't recall seeing a single Democrat leader of any kind at the memorial service, which, if that is true, says a lot.
Says everything, doesn't it? It says everything. They've had so many moments of says everything you need to know about it.
100%. So that is if that is the case, it's pretty shameful. But and that of course is the same people that want everybody to work with them, to come together, to blah blah blah, and it's all hollow. Every bit of it's hollow. So it's very interesting. It was an interesting few hours along the way, but like you, I think there was a lot of great things said. For those of us that didn't know Charlie Kirk and his background as intimately as others, to hear some of the folks that he started with at Turning Point, or started Turning Point with, from its earliest days, a lot of that was great to hear. There was a lot of interesting information that came out of it, and very well done. I think we could have done without Lee Greenwood. Personally, I don't like Lee Greenwood.
Not a fan.
And I know President Trump loves him, but that
Loves
we
him.
could have done without that.
Right.
And it is what it is. But
Yeah.
I think it was the entire extravaganza was very befitting of Charlie Kirk and what he stood for. And now we're at 120,000 Turning Point applications. The entire high school, every single high school in the state of Oklahoma is going to have a Turning Point chapter. That was announced, I think, today. Oh, by the way, folks, our normal recording time, Wednesday, 4:30 East Coast time. And they did announce today or yesterday that every single high school in the state of Oklahoma. Amazing.
Beautiful.
And I think you're going to start seeing more of that. You may not see that, but you will definitely see things like that in some of the, truthfully, the Bible Belt states, the flyover states, as they like to call them.
Right.
All of us Midwesterners. But I thought it was overall it was good. I could have done with some less politics.
Sure. And of course, we'd be remiss to not mention the moment where President Trump and Elon Musk sat side by side and shook hands and had a moment. So even if it was just a fleeting moment, that it was over the minute the handshake let go, kudos to them to have that moment, very befitting again, in honor of Charlie Kirk to, set things aside and just go the route of peace. And, I don't think anybody thinks that the relationship is going to go back to what it was. And I don't even know if anybody actually cares greatly. I don't think so. I think the interest in that has pretty much dropped down to almost nothing. So, you just hope that they can work together in some capacity, or at least not work against each other. And just work towards the greater good, which is for the American people, for this country. So if nothing else, hopefully just that. But that was a kind of a wow moment, like, wow.
One last kudos, right? And in any good memorial service, there has to be a little bit of levity. Otherwise, it's horrible, right? It's just a horrible experience. I think that the top prize for making people laugh in the entire thing was Don Jr. imitating his dad.
That was great.
Hilarious.
It was so good.
It was. I've never seen him do it before. I don't know.
No, I've never seen him do it before, but he did it perfect. I mean, he should. He should be the best at it.
He's the guy.
Absolutely. But he did a great job.
Yeah, and it wasn't over the top, but again,
no.
Anybody who's been to those types of things, levity is required. Otherwise, it's a miserable experience. And I think there was enough of that in the storytelling about Charlie. But I thought that Don Jr. did a great job making everybody smile. So I thought that was appropriate too.
He did. I actually liked pretty much everything that he said. I liked what he said about himself. It was just a little interesting little introspection there that he had, that I'm not the guy that you're going to typically see. I don't cry, I don't make big displays, and but it was well done. I liked it a lot of powerful moments. Again, what more can you say than, wow, Erica Kirk she is a force to be reckoned with, and her and the team that Charlie assembled, and of course to know that, to just simply know that they had these conversations, that this was a well planned out in case of, thing that they had to talk about, and the team is doing amazing things. They're doing
they're back
wonderful.
Out today. They are out today. Yeah. Actually, may even have been yesterday, but either yesterday or today, they were back out on the road doing Turning Point stuff, which is exactly what Charlie Kirk would have wanted. And if you've seen, folks, if you haven't seen, my concern was always who's going to fill it in.
Right.
Who's going to fill in behind him. We would hope that it's not Erica, but but if you look at the lineup now, you've got Matt Walsh is stepping in, Ben Shapiro stepping in, Megyn Kelly stepping in. You've got a bunch of people who are stepping up and filling the holes for Charlie himself. But that's because the world continues to turn.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, moving on to the next topic, we had another incident of politically driven violence in the United States today. And some of it, we had a shooting, folks, at an ICE facility in Texas that was driven by politics. President Trump declared Antifa a terrorist organization within the last 2 weeks, which I'm a big fan of, by the way. But what we had today was now being declared a member of Antifa. Got on a roof with a rifle, shot and injured I don't have reports of anybody dying except for the shooter who died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. I know he injured others, but the only one I know for a fact that is dead is him, which
I think I actually misunderstood when I saw that there was one fatality. I didn't even take the shooter into accountability. So obviously, I think you're exactly right. I agree. I think it's long overdue. I think they behave as terrorists. So, the only question I guess really comes in, like the debate is, are they an organization or are they an ideology, or are they both? So I don't know. I think you can simplify it by simply saying, well, if you're going to act and say that you're acting on behalf of Antifa, then you are part of an organization and you'll be charged as such. Like if that is part of your self-description of what you're doing and why you're doing it, then okay, that's what you're getting charged with. I don't know. It kind of simplifies it in my mind, really.
Yeah,
right?
and declaring them a terrorist group opens the doors for the president to use federal level assets to crack down. Listen, folks, if you think as much as people want, and there are days that I'm on the side of this, I would love to let some of our top tier special operators off the chain and let them go do things to clear this up. That's not how this should be handled as much as we would want it to on certain days. However, that is at the president's disposal at this point, them being designated as a terrorist group. That is not his intent with this. It does, however, open up the ability to investigate them, to track money. How are things being funded? If you remember, and you go back to, all of these summer riots over the last 3 years, 5 years, going all the way back to COVID, remember back when it was like, oh, suddenly there's this pile of concrete blocks that have been delivered in this planned protest route. There are all of these a van drives up and they dump out all of these pre-made shields. And, we all know that funding, I've said it before, and I'm not shy about saying it, is that funding comes from people like George Soros and others. And declaring them a terrorist organization allows the federal government, federal law enforcement to investigate where this money, where this funding is coming from. And now the criminal charges are much more significant. If you're funding a terrorist organization, that's big federal offense, jail time kind of stuff. And that's really the importance of designating it as a terrorist organization.
Right. Yeah. And hopefully, because, let's face it, there's the majority of Antifa is made up of these, wayward youths who are just looking to, be a part of anarchy and run wild and do whatever. They don't really have there isn't a passion there, for a cause. There's just anarchy and disruption. And if and the attitude is, you're going to pay me to do this? Sure. I was doing it for free, but you want to pay me to do it? Okay. So this maybe will give some of them a little pause for thought as to consequence for actions. Who knows?
Yeah. We've all seen them, even in their, in their black garb and their masks, they're a bunch of beta males. I mean, they are. They're the, 6'1", 130 pound, skinny boys in the tight jeans. And then the females that are a part of it are the, the blue haired 17 piercing. Like we all know the stereotype of the Antifa member. Right. We're not worried about them, truthfully, because every single time that they have come up against any single individual or group of people who are truthfully have any, A-type personality, male or female, the alpha, top of the food chain kind of person, it's a very, very short conflict. Like
very, very short, which usually ends with them running with their tail between their legs.
Yeah. And we're not worried about them, but what we're worried about is the funding, the organization, the information, all of the things that are being fed to them to keep this movement going. And that's what the president and federal law enforcement is trying to break apart.
Yep. I love it. I think it's great. Don't really care what the folks that are opposed to it have to say. And, as always, cry harder,
But in regards to the shooting today, Vice President Vance did say that they have intel that this was an Antifa member and it was a politically driven anti-ICE action. Specifically, I think they've said, I hate to say copycat, but a little bit of copycat. There were things inscribed on bullets in the rifle and some other things. So politically driven violence, which we talked about at length last week, continues because we've got governors, specifically governors, Newsom being one, Pritzker being another. You know,
Yes.
got governors across the United States who are making very inflammatory anti-ICE statements.
Mm-hmm.
Drive idiots like this guy to do what he did today. And it's
Right.
politically driven violence, or it's violence driven by politics and by politicians duly elected across the nation. And it's shameful.
Right. And of course, not just the politicians, the media personalities who, how about that segue? But, media personalities who have, influence over the masses. And I'm not saying that this guy is some big influential person, but the fact that he has the capability of reaching millions of people via the airwaves,
Yep.
this is a problem for spreading lies and all of those things. And then coming back with, so you know the story in case you don't. So Jimmy Kimmel made some really garbage comments on his show. I think it was like this on the 17th, or might have been the day he was yanked. Made some really messed up comments. Basically, said that the shooter, Charlie Kirk's murderer, was a MAGA. I forget his exact words, but basically just called him MAGA Republican and blamed the right for this. And this was well after it was already well determined and known that that was not the case at all. So he spread these lies knowingly. So ABC yanks him, because everybody kind of rightfully lost their minds over it. And then ABC reinstated him on September 23rd after a suspension. And but still, most major, or a couple of the major affiliate groups, Sinclair and Nexstar, are still preemptive. Are still like, nah, we're not putting him on. But he returned nonetheless, and he gave, and we're doing very obvious air quotes, he gave an emotional. I'm not calling it an apology.
No,
it was absolutely, it was definitely not an apology. I'm going to play it for y'all right here in case you missed it or a part of it. Here it is.
Never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man. I don't think there's anything funny about it. I posted a message on Instagram on the day he was killed, sending love to his family and asking for compassion, and I meant it, and I still do. Nor was it my intention to blame any specific group for the actions of what it was obviously a deeply disturbed individual. That was really the opposite of the point I was trying to make, but I understand that to some that felt either ill-timed or unclear, or maybe both. And for those who think I did point a finger, I get why you're upset. If the situation was reversed, there's a good chance I'd have felt the same way. I have many friends and family members on the other side who I love and remain close to, even though we don't agree on politics at all. I don't think the murderer who shot Charlie Kirk represents anyone. This was a sick person who believed violence was a solution, and it isn't. Ever.
Yeah.
The first time. You should have said that the first time.
Should have said that the first time. So everything about that from beginning to end was BS. The crocodile tears in the beginning. So I'll tell you this, and I said this. I made a video about this already. On my platforms, and I am generally a sucker for emotion. Somebody cries, I cry. It's just really that simple. And so I watched it late, like really late last night. I couldn't fall asleep, so I just started doom scrolling, and that came up, and I watched it. And my immediate reaction and response was to basically say, okay, that's nice. And then I was like, I want to post something about this and say, good job, Jimmy, because I'm freaking nice. I know that didn't sound very nice, but I am, because I'm nice, and I want to believe the best in people, even though they give me no reason to. And I decided, hang on, you just watch that really quickly. It's late. You're tired. Wait till tomorrow, watch it again, and then see how you feel. But which is exactly what I did. And then I watched it again this morning, and I'm like, hang on a stinking minute here. I didn't hear the words, I'm sorry.
Nope.
I apologize.
Nope.
I'm wrong. I was wrong. None of the things that qualify as an apology. Then I remembered, oh, wait, the guy's an actor. Tears are easy. That little shaky voice, choked up sound, I can do that. I could cry right now for you, like at the drop of a hat. Just think about crying. I can cry. It's a skill, I guess. I don't know. But point being, he's an actor. You can cry on command, or make it look like you're crying on command. I didn't see a tear fall. Also, there's all these other factors. There's the body language, right? There's the word choices. All of these things, you put them together. That was really like defensiveness, blame shifting. That was, I'm sorry. He didn't use the words I'm sorry, but listen, you misunderstood what I was saying. So, I mean, I don't know what you want me to do. I guess if you took it wrong, I guess, that was like the gist of it. Like, well, you misunderstood. You didn't really catch you didn't understand the nuance of what I was saying. 100% BS, A to Z, zero acceptance of that non-apology. So I non-accept your non-apology, yeah, no, just made it worse, really. In my mind, he made it worse. All he did was confirm what an absolute jerk he is. And I think I repeatedly called him an idiot. So I'll stick with that one too, with zero apologies.
Yeah, he did even try and lay some blame on President Trump for him suspended, as opposed to, because of this merger that everybody keeps bringing up. And listen, you can say anything you want, and there's a lot of people who are saying, and I have friends and relatives that are like, well, Kilmeade, said this, and so on this, network said this, but listen, and they're talking about these FCC rules.
Okay.
The reality is the FCC governs free television.
Yep.
The FCC does not govern cable television, right? So Kilmeade can say whatever he wants. Anybody who's on cable can say. CNN, they do it all the time.
Right.
Now, when you're on network TV, which Kimmel is, then the FCC can hold you accountable.
Yep.
So no, the rules are not the same. It's like your kids, right? The rules,
right?
You've got kids. I've got kids. They didn't. The rules were not the same, and they're not the same between network and cable. So Kimmel can blame the president all he wants. He can, and I really don't care. The reality is that Nexstar and Sinclair said, we don't care. We don't care if ABC let him back in. We're not carrying him. And so that he'll get a spike in the ratings. He said it himself. He said this backfired on President Trump because, I'm back and, millions of people are watching, and that'll last about till the end of the week. And then next week, his ratings will go back in the toilet worse than they were before. And, give it by the end of the season or by the end of his contract, and he'll be gone. Just like Colbert and all of the rest of them.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. Listen, we're not saying they can't have a platform. They're just going to go start up somewhere else. They'll start a podcast. They'll do all of the things. And I applaud I applaud your right and your ability to do that. But again, it's the same old. There's going to be accountability. Like there's going to be a consequence for your actions, your blatant lies. And it goes back to what we were saying about Antifa, that people like these politicians that we were talking about, and people like Jimmy Kimmel and the, quacking hens over on The View and all of these other, or another one, right? All of these people that you are the ones blowing the dog whistle for these Antifa idiots and these deranged, mentally unstable people. You are dog whistling. They're answering that whistle, and you are directly responsible for everything that has been going on because you have inflamed and incited this hateful, violent mentality. And there are videos upon videos upon videos, compilation videos of people on the left, prominent people, Maxine Waters, what's her Skeletor face there, Pelosi, on and on, Jasmine Crockett, AOC, all of these people saying the most inflammatory things and literally calling for unrest in the streets, calling for violence. Maxine Waters shaking that bony finger. If they're in a restaurant, you go and approach them and you let them know that they're not welcome here, So stop. You're being held accountable. Cry all you want about it. Do whatever. I don't care. But we have hit the point in this society where we're finally truly, truly fighting back. And I'm not advocating fighting, retaliating violence for violence, but accountability. That's it. I'll say it all damn day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Speaking of The View. Elsa's back in business, folks.
Oh my goodness.
Kamala has come out of her hole, out of the cave. And she is, I think it's today. Is it today?
I think it was either yesterday or today. I forget which one.
Her new book is out, so she's doing the book tour, folks.
Yep.
And of course, she's going to cater to the normal audience, and that starts with, as the blonde Kamala put it, the cackling hens over on The View. And so she made her first appearance. Are you going to buy the book? Is my question.
No, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to. So I have a folder. You call them. I don't know who. If you don't use Chat GPT at all, you can organize your projects or your questions or your prompts, whatever you're going to call it, into folders. And I have a folder that I put in essentially like book prompts, like summarize this book. Like if I'm going to interview, like I'm tattletaling on myself here. If I'm going to interview somebody, an author, they've written a book and I'm going to interview them, but there's no time to read their books, and frankly, if I had to read the stack, there's not enough time in the day. So I'll put in there, I'll say, summarize this book, give me there's something called the 80-20 hack. So give me the 20% of the content that gives me 80% of the information from this book, in this case. That is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it into a prompt. I'm going to ask my chat to just give me the 20% that gives me the 80% of information that I need to know from this book. It's probably only going to find like 2% of valuable information from it. So the answer is no, yes.
Fair enough.
Right? Oh, Clay, I can't tell you how many people are messaging me and throwing in the comments and calling me and saying, you have to do. So first of all, they're saying you got to watch her on The View and do that one specifically. Yes. You said it as well, right? I will do it. I will. I cannot deny that I'm struggling to find my funny bone still. But this may be the incentive to just shake it off and take one for the team and do it. But she's up to her usual speaking engagement tricks, right? It's all the word salads. It's the recycled same thing over and over again. Here's a little montage that somebody put together, and I don't know who put it together, and I'm so sorry whoever did, but here it is.
United States running for re-election. Current sitting president is running for re-election. 3.5 months from the election, decides not to run. 3.5 months from the election, he decides not to run. 3.5 months before the election, decides not to run. With 107 days to go. With 107 days. Yeah. With 107 days to go. And it ended up being the closest presidential election in the 21st century.
Yeah. Okay. So it was right there. It's Jesse Waters. He gets credit for that. Fox gets credit for that one. So same recycled things and much like, and I apologize to everyone, including us, for making this comparison, but I will say, much like Trump, when they go off script, things go a little sideways. And when she goes off script, that's when you get the word salads, right? That's when it becomes, I went on this book tour because when you tour, you're going to places. And I didn't even do the voice. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't even do the voice.
She's the things that I have picked up on, besides, of course, Kamala being Kamala, the word salad and repeating the same thing over and over and over again. She has told all of us that she wanted to pick Mayor Pete as her running mate.
Right.
And then revealed to us that because she is I want to get this right, because she is a Black female, she could not, as much as she wanted to, it was too risky to have a gay man as her running mate. So she basically said, no matter how qualified she felt he was, she didn't have the intestinal fortitude to say, he's the most qualified, he's going to be my running mate. She kowtowed, which is a great indicator that we all made the right decision not to elect her as president, right?
Yes.
So that's number one. Two, she thinks all of America are biased, bigoted ignoramuses who would never vote a ticket with a Black female and a gay man on the same ticket together. So we're all morons. She also said on The View, I told you this before we started, that president, she is so loyal. That's why when they asked her if there was anything that she would do differently than President Biden, because she said, absolutely, nothing comes to mind.
Right.
She did that purely out of loyalty to President Biden, because she didn't want to feel bad. She didn't want to make him look bad.
Mm.
That she didn't think that people were going to make such a big deal out of it, that they were so clamoring for something different from President Biden. She didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal.
Mm.
So, what she's doing is she said she didn't want to throw him under the bus. Listen, folks, she's throwing everybody under the bus. This entire book tour, the book itself, everybody's under the bus. And why is she doing it, Elsa? So that in 3.5 years, in 3 years, she can put you back to work, because she is running again.
Yeah.
Make no mistake. She's
going to spend, this is going to be her rebranding era.
Yep.
She's going to try and rebrand, but she can't get out of her own way. She can't do it. It's impossible. She has and has always had zero likability. That's not going to change.
Nope.
The team of people that would have to work on her to literally change her entire persona, it can't be done. It won't be done. There's
you know
no
why
way.
it can't be done, though? It's because she won't do it.
She won't. You're right.
This is from the time that she was the vice president. We all saw this. Go back in time to making her the borders, every task that she was given.
Mm-hmm.
She notoriously did zero prep work.
Yeah.
Zero. She didn't get smart on the topic. She didn't rehearse the speeches. She didn't do any of the study, the black binder work that she is required to do. She did none of it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the same thing. She will never get elected because she will never improve herself, because she'll never put the work in, because she's friggin' lazy.
Yep.
And I'll say it. I've never said it before, but I'm going to say it out loud. The only reason she got to where she was because she started out her career doing things she shouldn't be doing to get promoted in the state of California. And that's all along the way.
And it's been widely documented. And you know how you know it's true? Because she never fought it.
Nope.
Never fought
denied it. Not once.
Never denied it. Never, pressed charges against him or filed a suit for slander or defamation or any of those things. And that tells you a whole heck of a lot there. So, just saying. Oh, which one you want to do next, Clay? I don't even think we have a good segue, so I think we can just bop right over. How about this one here?
Folks, listen, President Trump intimated something about this at the at Charlie Kirk's memorial, which again, I wish he would have just left out, but he didn't. He said there's going to be this big announcement about autism, and it was announced on Monday, both him and RFK Jr. Folks, I urge everyone to go back and listen to what was said. Now, we know, Elsa and I just were talking about this. When he goes off script, things get dangerous. There are some things he could have said better. He probably didn't need to describe autism as this awful, horrific, terrible thing. Now, listen, if it's preventable and we've allowed autism to not only continue, but increase, then there's some horrific things going on there. However, he probably could have handled that better. But the message is there are studies. There are studies from Mount Sinai. There are studies from Harvard Medical. There are literally probably 18 studies out there right now that have identified a linkage, not necessarily singular cause, people, but linkages between the use of acetaminophen. Everybody's commonly saying Tylenol, but the use of acetaminophen during pregnancy by the mother, as well as the vaccination schedule that happens to newborn babies. Roll all of that together with some other environmental causes, and there are linkages that may help us understand why there's been an increase in autism. They are not saying Tylenol use of Tylenol by the mother causes autism. They're not saying that that use of vaccines causes autism. What they're saying is there is evidence that needs to be explored that the combination of all of these things is increasing the risk or the occurrence of autism. There is evidence of that needs to be further explored. But of course, what are we seeing, Elsa? We're seeing the immediate reaction in the opposite direction.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys are privy to this, but like almost immediately after the particular part of our population decided to start a trend of making these videos of themselves taking Tylenol. And again, I agree with you. Poor Tylenol is really getting a bum rap here because everybody's just using Tylenol as a blanket statement. So we really should be just saying acetaminophen. Tylenol, of course, is a maker of acetaminophen. That's the brand name. So they're kind of getting a beating. But before I show you the little video I have, let me just show you their tweet. Now
Look at
take
the
a look at
date.
the date. Take a look at the date on there. This is how long they have been saying this for. This is not new news. So
Nope.
that is what makes this upcoming little short video here all the worse and more horrific. So here we go. I don't think I have any sound on this yet. I don't have any sound on it. But this is just this is what's going wild over on the TikTok over there, probably Reels too. I don't know. But it's all these pregnant women, and this is just a short sampling of them taking Tylenol for the camera to make a point. And I could guess that the only point that they're making here is that they are idiots. They are reckless, and they probably have no business becoming parents. The fact that they would be so reckless and potentially endanger the health and safety of their unborn babies, all to thumb their nose at President Trump and RFK Jr., who, by the way, probably will never see those videos, never care, because they're kind of busy working, doing things for a living to care about TikTok videos. So your whole point that you're making is what? Like that, I'll tell you what it is, that you're an idiot, that you are reckless. And I personally wish you could be charged with, child endangerment, because to do that, being told, not just by president, the studies are out there. Scientists are, I don't know why I air quoted that. There's no air quote for that. Scientists have done studies.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not the scientist that you want. I'm sorry. It's not Dr. Fauci telling you. Maybe if it was him, you would listen. But wow. And of course all the jokes come up now, like, well, maybe President Trump should tell them, that oxygen is good for them, and all of these things, so that, I mean, that's not a nice joke, but you get it. I mean, we all get it. It's so wild to me, isn't it? It's just crazy.
It's there's a lot of people that are going back to, hey, in the 70s, we learned don't smoke,
Right.
we learned, no more than, and this is even arguable now. It was like, okay, a glass of wine, right? There was that. And then it was like, okay, no alcohol. Like we've learned these things along the way.
Right.
There are, again, like we've said, plenty of studies out there. No one is saying this is the direct cause. No one has said that. I know that's what people are hearing, because they're not listening. They're being blinded by or deafened by, this hatred.
Yeah.
But they're not listening, and they're cherry picking the opinions. I don't know if you've seen it. I've seen probably a half a dozen people re-quoting or retweeting a guy that says, I'm a doctor and a father, right? And I say, listen, man, I don't care. Harvard Medical, Mount Sinai, and about a dozen other medical organizations have done studies that say there's a linkage, there's cause, like there is something there that needs to be further studied. You, the pediatrician father, I appreciate that you have an opinion.
Yeah.
It really holds no weight that would make me, go beyond or go against literally a dozen plus studies by major medical organizations that say otherwise. I appreciate your opinion. But everybody who's taking those and retweeting them are being so very dishonest in all of this. They're the same people that they're the horse tranquilizer people. Same people, right? They're the Fauci, the people who praised him like he was a deity. It is unbelievable the amount of blind and deaf hatred that are going on, that are causing these women to do these stupid things.
Yeah. It's just so appalling. Those poor innocent little babies that these women would be willing to be so potentially reckless with their lives is probably right.
Reckless is the perfect word for this.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah.
And I don't care. I personally, if I were, if this was me back in the day, expecting my child, and somebody said, if there were studies, even people I don't know, but if they're doctors, if I'm hearing about a study that there is a hint of a possibility that this could be something that's harmful to my child, like we said, smoking. There was a time where mothers were smoking while pregnant, drinking while pregnant. And then when they heard, hey, it might not be a good idea, you stop. I mean, plenty of people didn't, and they took their chances. But generally speaking, your priority is to protect your unborn child at all costs. It will never make sense to me to hate so blindly that you'll harm yourself and your child.
Yeah.
Just for spite. Like, wow.
Those are,
wow.
I hate to say this, and I know this is generalizing, but those are the same women who are still at 6, 7, 8, 9 months pregnant, riding in the front seat of their car with airbags, because they're like, well,
Yeah.
What do you expect me to do? I expect you to sit in the back to protect your child.
Exactly.
Right? In the event that there's even a 32-mile-an-hour fender bender that's going to activate the airbags, because the airbags are going to do damage to your child.
Right.
You do those things to protect your child, and it's not, check your ego at the friggin' door to protect that child.
Yeah.
So it's the same people. It's shameful. It's embarrassing, but that's where we're at, folks. I mean,
that is where we're at.
Yeah.
And I simply won't entertain it anymore. I think I was saying this before we came on. I don't think I said that on air, that I did say it on air. I spent some time just hitting that block or ban button. And if you're just going to come on and say the stupidest, most ignorant, inflammatory, combative things, you're not welcome. If I see it, I'm just banning you. I don't care. Like, I don't need you to follow me. I don't need your engagement. We always talk about people who do social media and media for a living. You talk about how engagement is, the most important thing, because that's how it drives revenue for your platform. I don't need it that bad. I'm good. Just go away. I don't even care. Be mad about it. Go ahead and cry on your own platform that I'm taking away your freedom of speech. I'm not, obviously, but that's like what they like to say. Yeah, I'm not entertaining any of it. Just goodbye. That's it. We can talk about some more silliness now, since we've moved into the realm of absolutely silly people and silly things. I mean, what the heck and heck? So Clay sent this to me. So the routine, guys. I make Clay do all the heavy lifting, and he has to pick the topics for us. So he sent me this one. To be honest with you guys, I don't watch regular television. I don't know what's going on. I don't watch any like reality TV, except there is one. I'm not even going to confess which one I watch.
Dancing with the Stars. That's you.
So I'm only catching clips of it on TikTok. I'm just catching all the highlights of it on TikTok. But there is one that I watch. Half of you won't even know. More than half of you won't even know what this is. But it's The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and it's because I follow. Well, she's one of the girls on there on Dancing with the Stars. Is part of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. And I only started watching it because I follow one or two of the girls on that platform. It's my guilty pleasure. I don't care, and nobody's going to make me feel guilty about it. So whatever. But anyhow, so I knew nothing about this show. I didn't know special forces. So correct me on this if you need to, Clay. And I know you don't watch it either. No. But it's like kind of B-list celebrities, like reality stars and stuff that go on the show, and they compete in like very physical challenges.
Yeah, it is. It's your standard pool. It's former professional athletes. It's it's reality TV. It's B-rated, actors and actresses. It is that same crowd of people, right? It's season 22 of Dancing with the Stars. Once they've run out of like actual people, these are the people they get to. So there are physical challenges that are supposed to replicate, things that special forces guys do, which, I protest in general. But I saw a commercial. It was actually, I don't know if it was before or after the Charlie Kirk thing on Fox, and because this is a Fox TV show. Yeah. And, season 4, special forces, blah, and I got up to go, to the bathroom or the kitchen or something. And all of a sudden it said, Jussie Smollett. And I was like, stopped. Like, I love the fact that you can rewind your TV nowadays and rewind it. And, I was like, one, I cannot believe that Fox or any other network has brought this guy back. But then I was like, he is Danny Bonaducci.
Yes.
He's Screech. He's O.J. Simpson. He's all of those people, and people, there are people who will watch him suffer and fail.
Right.
I actually, it flashed through my brain. I was like, I want to see this guy with a 100-pound rucksack running up a hill, like just sucking the life out of him. But this is where we're at, folks. He's getting a second chance at life. The worst of the worst. Like,
good grief.
He never killed anybody, but he may as well have. Like, this is, in celebrity dumb, whatever you want to call it.
There's so many examples like him. Our Greta who keeps getting another 15 minutes of fame every once in a while. Oh, it's so silly. Guys, if any of you watch it,
if you're a Dave Chappelle fan, he is known as Juicy Smollett in Dave Chappelle comedy world. But yeah, it's awful. Terrible.
Oh yeah, I think we pronounced his last name wrong. I think I just said Jussie Smollett, and I think it's supposed to be Smollett or something, right? I don't even know.
What Dave Chappelle calls him this in his comedy routine. Juicy Smollett.
Juicy Smollett. Oh my God. Well, I don't know. I guess more power to him. I mean, if you're getting yourself another 15 minutes, good on you, I guess. I mean, if you want to keep embarrassing yourself, go for it. Whatever. Oh, we did skip one that I skipped one. It was my fault. We skipped one that was actually, less comical, a little bit more.
Listen, folks, we'll hit this one really quick because we are running out of time. So, this is the 80th General Assembly of the UN, which, for those of you that don't know or don't realize, is held in New York. That's where the UN headquarters is at. So, President Trump went to speak in front of the General Assembly. There were a couple of things that happened that were very suspicious. And again, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I don't believe in coincidences. Him and the First Lady stepped onto an escalator that immediately stopped.
Here it is. I've got it, Clay.
You got it? Okay.
Yep.
All I got from the United Nations was an escalator that on the way up stopped right in the middle. If the First Lady wasn't in great shape, she would have fallen. But she's in great shape. We're both in good shape. We both stood. And then a teleprompter that didn't work. These are the two things I got from the United Nations, a bad escalator and a bad teleprompter.
Yeah. So, like you said, one thing, two things, and pretty, I wouldn't call the escalator a significant thing, but the teleprompter is pretty significant. I mean, that is definitely a significant thing. And he actually ended that little segment. I cut it off. I apologize by saying somebody's going to be in big trouble, meaning the teleprompter person. So
we put billions of dollars every year. 2023, I think, was the last full year that they really tallied up every penny. $13+ billion the U.S. has put into the UN. And really what we're getting out of it is nothing. The UN is a shambles. The Argentinian president today, actually, or even yesterday, really did a great job, folks. And I encourage you to check it out online. But he laid out all the things that the UN is doing right now, and not in a good way. So they're allowing dictatorships like Venezuela and Cuba into the UN. They are, kind of ignoring or allowing in countries that do not support women's rights, mostly the Muslim countries from the Middle East. They're kind of turning a blind eye to, violations of, humanitarian everything, by allowing countries like Iran to be on committees, et cetera, et cetera. And President Trump's position on this is it's probably, if the UN doesn't get their act together, the US is walking out. And we are not just the home of the UN. Oh, by the way, pick up that big building and move it somewhere else, but also we're the biggest donor to the UN. And if you want to see the UN collapse, let the United States walk away. We have the most bargaining power, and that's kind of, as a businessman, where the president is sitting. And truthfully, very much like NATO, I agree with him that if we don't walk away, we certainly need to step back because we're not getting anything out of it. Nothing of value.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's just seems like a common sense, matter of fact move to do that. And I say that, with the caveat of saying, yes, I don't know what the bigger implications of that, if we do that, how does that affect us? I mean, it certainly doesn't sound like it affects us a whole heck of a lot, except for just puts a few more bucks in our pocket. Right. And a little more dignity back. That was highly insulting. That was extremely disrespectful. Listen, you can say there were 2 freak accidents that happened in a row. I don't buy it. I don't think you buy it either, this whole escalator thing. They were deliberate moves to make him look bad, to make him look foolish, and by proxy, make us as America look foolish and embarrass us, essentially. That doesn't work for me. And that sure as heck does not work for President Trump. I can guarantee that. So,
my last comment is I was a little shocked, the zero reaction by the Secret Service.
What the heck?
Like literally nobody did anything. The guys kept walking up the stairs. The guys behind him didn't do anything. Nobody did anything.
Right.
Like, in my mind, as a guy who ran security for, or was in charge of security for a pretty significantly important, military officer, when that escalator stopped, in light of all of the violence that's going on right now, the First Lady became stationary targets for just enough.
Yeah.
Just enough time.
It's a fantastic point. Yeah.
Literally no reaction whatsoever.
Right.
Secret Service, presidential detail did nothing.
Yeah.
No change in posture. Most of them didn't even stop. Like
Mhm.
it was, that to me was egregious, and probably somebody needs to be held accountable for that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's,
Well, you know what? That's actually a huge point. That went right over my head, to be perfectly honest. And the only thing that I did, notice and pick up on and kind of give a little round of applause was Melania Trump just going, fine.
yeah,
Just kind of like, okay, I'll just walk them up. I'll just walk up. I'm not going to stand here like an idiot. I'm walking up. And, so good on her for just taking charge and just handling the, kind of like exactly what you're saying, though. Like, nobody's doing anything. All right, I will take charge.
yeah.
I will lead, so good on her for that. But you're absolutely right. That's a little scary, a lot scary. I hope you're right that, I agree with you. And I also hope that some accountability happens there, at least a little conversation. But, whoo-wee, that's a lot of topics, man.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff.
Right. Yeah.
We did it. We are good. We are good. All right, guys. As always, we thank you for joining us every week. We love the time spent with you. And as always, tell us your thoughts in the comments section. We had a couple few questions for you that we needed you to answer in the comments for us. So I hope somebody gives us some clarity on a couple of things. And yeah, that's kind of all I got. You got anything last minute stuff you want to share with them?
No. Other than you can see the new book cover, right? Cross to Bear. That's my second book. Again, it's on Amazon. I appreciate everybody who supported so far. And as always from me, we'll see you next week, and keep moving, keep shooting.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Combat veteran Terry Davis thought he left the fight behind. In Tampa, he uncovered a deadly conspiracy. Now, he's back home in Chicago, and war has followed him to his doorstep. Gangs armed like soldiers, a shadowy enemy rising from the past, and one man who refuses to stand down. From the quiet suburbs to the shores of Lake Michigan, Terry Davis will risk everything to protect the people he loves, because that is his cross to bear. Clay Novak's explosive new novel, Cross to Bear, Book 2 in the Terry Davis series.
She's the voice behind the viral comedy, bold commentary, and truth-packed interviews that cut through the chaos. Author, brand creator, proud conservative Christian, this is Elsa Kurt. Welcome to the show that always brings bold faith, real truth, and no apologies.
We're about news, commentary, conversations, truth, liberty, and God. We stand for American values and our flag. We believe that the Constitution is a document that fortifies rights already given to us by our Creator. We will not apologize for our love of God and country, ever. We are Right America Media.